Now there are many aquariums on the market that are targeted for beginners, and one of the main criteria for the companies that are targeting beginners is cost. Trying to keep the cost nice and low, so they're an entry-level tank that would inspire someone to actually pick up the tank and start keeping fish. Now the disadvantage of targeting beginners with setups based on cost is that they rarely ever require, or they rarely ever have what is really required to keep fish. So let's say you go and pick up a starter pack, regardless of what it is, it will often be fairly underfiltered, and it's really important that you just consider what else the fish require and not just rely on what's in the starter pack. So these particular ones from Aqua One, great value tank, quite what you get, very good value. But what I want to suggest is that inside this filter is little cartridges, and I want to suggest that you don't replace those cartridges because they come with a little bit of carbon, and they have a little bit of filter wool, and they recommend every sort of month or so that you replace the carbon cartridge. But to give you significantly better results, I want to suggest that you don't replace the carbon. Just use the first one for the first month, then replace the polyfilter. Polyfilter is a far better filter media. It will adsorb and absorb anything impure out of the water, and it will polish the water, and it will give far better results. So you can just cut a piece and put it inside the filter. The other thing you can do with the polyfilter is just cut another slab of it and hide it underneath the gravel or the decorations, because it will passively absorb nutrients out of the water. The other thing I want to really recommend is consider putting in some marine pure cubes. You can either cut them with a hacksaw and slot them into the back of the filter, or you can once again hide them in the back of the tank. So what the marine pure does is really work like a compost heap. It's got a perfect surface area to volume ratio in order to grow parallel denitrifying bacteria. It really is the best biological media on the market. So for the sake of spending a little bit of money on these couple of balls and adding some polyfilter, then all of a sudden your filtration has just been turbo boosted, and then you're going to have the surface area and have the biological and mechanical media in order to keep fish more healthily in these tanks. The other thing you could consider over time is adding an aerator for extra aeration. That way you've covered your mechanical and chemical filtration component, you've covered your biological filtration component, and you've increased the oxygen, which is going to raise your redox potential and raise the capacity of your little aquarium. Other things to consider is the quality of your food. By all means use up what comes in it, but then I would definitely consider getting better quality food such as Denichi, because keeping fish is 50% water quality and 50% nutrition. So anyway, I guess knowing what goes into the water is also very important, because it comes with a water ager, but here in Sydney I'll always add just a little bit of salt to the water as well. I generally am a trace element based mineral salt. I will also add some carbonate powder, because Sydney tap water has no carbonate in it. So if you just check your KH in your little beginner tank and see if you have to add carbonate, calcium carbonate to your water as well. So these little tanks are great value to get started, but it does not cost much. It'll cost less than the failures of your fish to actually improve the quality of the tank significantly, improve nutrition, improve oxygenation, improve filtration, and this good value little tank can be a real success story.